one. We had like a
Yeah, I feel like we're spread out more or something.
Yeah.
You're up, bro.
Yeah. Yeah, you'll take the seat next to Kelly. She throws punches.
He's making me sound so
Ready for
violent.
that? So, you guys have a good trip?
Yeah.
Good.
Excellent.
Not too long of a journey up here then.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
What is it, like an hour and a half or something?
About an hour, right?
Yeah. After
No.
we stop for coffee, hour 15.
Are you both in Eldridge?
Yeah.
Okay.
We actually share a building,
Oh, you do?
Yep.
so
Oh, how's that work out?
It works out great for me.
Convenient.
I bet it
right?
does.
When I need stuff, they're right next door.
Yeah.
Yeah. No kidding. I bet it does. That's
Yeah.
great.
How was Adam's driving?
You drove
No,
with him?
no comment. He's got to drive us back.
Holy cow. Yeah. So, Bryar, you're with Superior, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, give us a little bit of background as far as what Superior is all about.
We've been around for 15, 16 years, I want to say, and for the most part, we've primarily done new construction, homes, residential primarily, little light commercial, service. Everybody's got to do service, you know. You can't put stuff in and then not work on it.
Right.
But other than that, we're just a small family company in a farm town.
Good. How big is Eldridge?
15,000, I think.
Okay. How wide of a range do you go as far as the distance that you travel?
I don't think we really have a distance.
Yeah.
We'll come up towards Macokota. I have come up to Dubuque before. The whole Quad City region. I've gone down to like Galesburg. And actually right now we're doing some jobs putting in some coffee machines for the Casey's around Iowa. So I've got 3 guys right now running, you know, all over the state of Iowa.
Yeah, there's Casey's everywhere.
Yeah, so
So you just got a contract set up with Casey's, and it's just,
a general out of Rockford
Yeah.
hooked us up with it. They do high-paced remodels,
okay.
and he's like, "Yeah, all you do is come in and hook up this drain line and unhook this cut. It only takes about a couple hours at Casey's, but yeah, they run in there and bang them out. And
Yeah.
I've got them for the next month. It's
Really?
all over the state of Iowa.
And it's all like refurb, not brand new stuff.
Yeah, it's just, or getting ready. They're putting in coffee and smoothing machines and whatnot.
Right.
And, they're just prepping for that.
Oh, neat.
So, yeah.
I have kids. We spend a lot of time in Casey's. Every time we drive by, can we get a snack?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Alex, what about you? Give us a little bit of background.
So I work for Quad Cities WinWater
Okay.
with former employee of yours, Chris Bergmeyer.
Sure.
I used to work with him in Lincoln. He was our TM over there, and that's kind of how I met him. And we just both kind of decided that this would be a good area to start a new waterworks distribution company, and made the move about 2.5, 3 years ago over from Lincoln. And yeah, just Chris and I starting it up, and we're getting rolling with the help of these guys and other people like that.
Yeah.
So
How'd you figure Quad Cities area?
Chris,
Is it?
yeah.
Okay.
I had wanted to move up for a while with my old company, and just saw this as a great opportunity to learn more about how to start a business, number one, but then also more of the operations side with it too.
Sure. So I mean, literally, it's a end user and a distributor here.
Yeah,
So that's great. Kind of get a little bit two different perspectives.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So you said family business. So your dad started the business, is that right?
Yep. My dad, like I said, my dad started the company somewhere around 2005. I don't remember.
Right.
But, yeah, he started, him and my mom did the books in the basement at night. And, yeah, he was just a one-man show for quite some time. And then we started getting into some bigger work, and he had to bring on more employees. And now we are where we are. My younger brother works for us as well. My mom does the books. My wife is the receptionist.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
You don't ever get away from family, do you? This trip up to Dubuque is like a godsend for you.
Yeah, they didn't have to ask me too hard.
Yeah.
So how old were you when you started?
I started working full-time in the summers when I was 14. And I was running around with my dad since I was strong enough to carry a B tank around, you know. And But yeah, I started full time in the summer when I was 14, and the second I got out of high school, I just went right to work. I started my apprenticeship. On the Iowa-Illinois border, you have to be licensed in each state because Illinois has its own state license that you're supposed to carry. So I'm a licensed master in Iowa and a journeyman in Illinois, which is the highest license you can carry over there. And yeah, I've been doing it ever since then. So since about 2005, 2006, I've been a plumber. It's all I ever wanted to do.
Is that right?
Ever
Yeah,
since
I was
a
going to
little
ask
kid.
you, was there anything else that you ever thought you would do, or just definitely wanted to follow in your
No,
dad's footsteps?
Just it could be a dad complex, but
Sure.
he just could do everything,
Yeah.
could fix everything all the time, and I just thought that was awesome. And so I never wanted to go to college.
Yeah.
I just wanted to get out and start turning wrenches. And
Very
Yeah.
cool.
so
Neat.
I guess I am living the dream. Some might
Hey.
say.
Yeah.
Doing what
I
you
mean,
want to do is
yeah.
absolutely living the dream.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To love what
Absolutely.
you do is such a cool thing. Not everybody gets that, so
Yeah.
that's very cool.
As far as like from a distributor side of things, when did you find out that that's kind of what you wanted to do?
In college.
Yeah?
Definitely. I went to a small D2 school in Nebraska, and I went through what is called industrial distribution. That was my major. So it's like half sales, half business management. And I ended up, like an idiot, get caught texting at a career fair and hit it off with one of the presidents.
Oh, really?
And so I ended up just working for him for a summer. And in that summer, I was just doing warehouse and delivery driving and just kind of loved it from there.
Yeah.
I knew that there's good opportunity with Wind Supply and decided that that was the way to go.
What D2 school did you go to?
University of Nebraska at Kearney.
Kearney. Okay, sure. I only ask because there's not a whole lot of D2
think
schools
there's, like,
around.
One or two.
Yeah, and I've actually been to Kearney.
Really?
Yeah, when I graduated from high school, went there to see if I wanted to play basketball there.
Kearney State?
Yep. No, University of Kearney. Yeah, Kearney. Kearney?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So
They didn't want you, did they?
no, I was too fast. I jumped too high, and I shot too well. So
Cat-like
decided that
reflexes.
there's, cat-like reflexes is exactly what I had. So, yeah. So what about family? How about you?
Yeah, I am married. I have a 7-year-old stepdaughter. We live right outside of Eldridge, just 2-acre farm, and
You do some farming on the side?
I don't do any farming.
You don't.
No, we
Okay.
leave that to the farmers.
So now here's a more pertinent question. Do you have the 7-year-old stepdaughter working for you yet? Because
No.
it seems like you guys start off early.
Yeah, no, she's not. She's definitely a little more girly girl.
Yeah?
She wants to do stuff with mom. She's never interested. Sometimes I throw her in the truck and drag her along with me, but
Right.
she's not too interested in anything I'm doing.
Ah, sure.
Smart kid.
Yeah, exactly. Alex, how about you?
Oh, nope. Just single myself. Live with me and my dog. That's about it. Just moved over by myself. When I came, Chris was the only person in the whole area I knew.
Yeah.
Really?
So it was kind of a leap of faith and came over. That's it.
Now, was this a COVID dog? Did you get this dog?
No,
during
I had.
COVID?
He's about 2 years old. I had
Okay.
him before that.
You had him before that. We've had more.
There's a lot of people.
There's a lot of people who have
Yeah.
had like COVID dogs and stuff like that.
No, he's a shop dog. He comes to work with me every day. Sometimes I like to balance curbs and corpse on his forehead,
Really?
take some pictures. So
That would be a talent.
I sent it to Adam.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, he sometimes doesn't share everything.
So how did you meet Bergie?
He was my TM in Lincoln.
Oh,
so I was
okay,
doing
yeah.
like inside sales, a little bit outside sales, a lot of estimating. And so he was always in there. And my president at the time, I kept asking, like, let's go. And he goes,
Yeah.
how about Iowa? I went, okay, sounds good.
Cool.
Is that me making the noise?
Yeah,
Was it?
I think so.
I turned my phone off.
I did too.
Put it over there.
Oh, you know what? No. You know what? It's my tile on my keys. Oh boy. I'm in trouble now. All right.
You're high tech over there.
I know. Yep. So kind of two different perspectives, from end user to distributor. What's the biggest thing that you've seen change since you first started in the business?
Ooh, when I first started, we were still doing cast iron underground and copper water piping.
Yeah.
PEX was around, but it was not approved in any of the areas we were working in. And yeah, since then, I mean, everything. If they could make it plastic, it comes in plastic.
Right.
And that's really the biggest thing that's changed for us. I mean, the code's changed around a little bit, but nothing too crazy. It's just advancements in technology is the only thing that changes. So that's the biggest thing for me.
Has that been a hard change for you from, kind of, you learned it one way and then had to switch over?
Not so much, because I didn't do it for very long.
Okay.
Like I said, I'm only 29 years old. I didn't do a lot of copper. I ran houses in copper, but not often. And PEX was around from about the time I started working full time. So we've ran different styles of PEX and so on and so forth. But yeah, that's I really didn't have a hard transition. The hardest transition we've come into so far actually is ProPress.
Ah.
Because there's a purity side of it where, now we're taking the art away from it. Mm-hmm. But it's fast.
Yeah.
Man, is it fast.
Yeah.
So explain ProPress for somebody that might be watching or listening that doesn't.
It's a crimp style copper fitting. So they make it for steel pipe as well now. But it basically, you use the same crimping style, except now you use it on copper. So in places where you require copper or you require any rigidity, now you've taken the speed of PEX and the rigidity of copper and you've put it together. And yeah, it's pretty slick. It's really just something we've just stepped into.
Yeah.
But
And when you say it replaces the art, you mean like the art of soldering, and that's
Yeah.
what it really.
because I mean,
eliminates.
at the end of the day, I can solder up a 2.5-inch ball valve. He can walk up and squeeze the button on the gun, and now he's done the same job that I do.
Right.
So that's the art that gets taken away from it. But once you throw that out the window, it's fast.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So,
How about your dad? I bet your dad is.
he didn't have a hard time changing over, but he's a purist.
Sure.
They were pouring lead, and that's how he learned how to do it. And I'm sure it's the same with every generation that comes in. There's always
Absolutely.
new technology that somebody has to get used to or adapt to. But yeah, I mean, he went through the same thing, but he's getting on the same page with the ProPress as well. It's fast,
Yeah.
and everybody else is gonna do it.
Yeah.
I think too, like it seems like every industry hiring people
Oh.
seems to be an issue. So I guess if you could take the work and
Right.
make it less complicated and less of an art and more of a science, then you could probably have a better chance at hiring some folks that don't have all those skills
Well,
yet.
right. I mean, and that's kind of what it comes down to, from a business perspective. If I can send this kid that just started for me, or has worked for you for 6 months, hey, go over and press in this valve so we can shut this off. And he runs over and presses it in, and now this kid, I pay a certain amount of money for the 6 months he's been there.
Right.
I don't have to pay that journeyman to go over and do that. Now, there's two sides to that sword as well, That's what the journeyman was trained to do, But something simple like that, a simple repair. Now I've freed up that journeyman to do something that he needs to focus on. I need you to run this job. I need you to make sure that these apprentices are all staying productive. And I don't need you to stop and go fix a leak in a 1-inch copper service, So,
Yeah.
How long does it take to get from apprentice to journeyman and all the different steps? As far as when you got your journeyman over in Illinois, how long did that take?
it takes, what it does is in Iowa it takes 5 years.
Okay.
So it takes 5 years. You go through 4 years of schooling, and there's a test. You go and take your journeyman's test. Now, in Illinois, if you are an active apprentice in Illinois, registered with the
Right.
state, if you're registered for 5 years, they consider that your your time served, if you will.
Okay.
You know, so that's your schooling. Now you're eligible to take that test.
Okay.
But I took my test in Iowa first.
Yep.
So once you're a journeyman in Iowa, that makes you eligible to test in Illinois as well.
Oh,
Or
okay.
because to take this test, you've served 4 or 5 years of an accredited school. So then I took that test in Illinois and got licensed over there, and then I took my master's on this side. So I mean, I've been a master for 4 years now, I want to say. 4 or
Wow.
5 years maybe. I don't know.
Starting off young, that helps.
Something
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it basically takes about 5 years. About
Okay.
5 years to get to a journeyman status.
Good. So, Alex, from a distributor standpoint, what's the biggest change that you've seen?
Excuse me. Recently, probably, I'd say since I started, the biggest thing I've seen change is probably the pace
Mm-hmm.
of distribution. With e-commerce and everything else going on, contractors are a lot less patient sometimes.
Right.
They still understand that it takes time, especially in this era, to get materials and stuff like that. But it just seems like submittals are placed Monday. They want to start Friday, where they used to give you 3 to 4 weeks to get everything together and ready to go. So that our inventory, I say, has changed quite a bit because we have to have it on the shelf to make sure we know what we're doing and get everything out the door as fast as possible.
Right.
We actually just started that ProPress job with Bryar here. Kind of a new product category that we're getting into,
Yeah.
if we need to, just to service these guys and make sure that they stay in building, if you will.
Yep.
Yeah, he's literally right next door, so he probably has a little bit of leverage.
Well, it kind of worked out good with us being in the same building,
Yeah.
you know, because they'll come over and I'll walk over and go, do you have any Schedule 40 fittings? And they're like, no, we don't carry any of those on shelf. I'm like, put them on the shelf.
Yeah.
You know, give me a price, put them on the shelf.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, we've just kind of worked back and forth. The things that they can stock, they stock. And, yeah, it's been really, really, really good, actually, in the grand scheme of things. But
So you talk about how ProPress has kind of, picked up.
mhm.
Who makes that decision? I mean, is it something? I'm assuming that if you're doing residential, most people who are looking to build a house, things like that, aren't saying, "Oh, I want ProPress." I mean, they don't understand the difference. How's that kind of go as far as the decision making of the type of material used?
It's ultimately, it does come down to the customer.
Right.
I mean, whatever they want, as long as it falls within the guidelines of the code, your local codes, and then there's the UPC, which is the code we follow in Iowa, which is covered over multiple states. But yeah, it's basically what your local code says. And I've had people come in and go, I don't like that PEX junk. It looks cheap, and
Okay.
I want to use copper. And we would price it up. And back then, we didn't have ProPress, so you just soldered it.
Right.
So that was the only option. Now we would probably sit down and look and see what the numbers are on it, because it's all price driven. If I'm coming in and putting copper pipe in your house, you're not going to be like, well, I want to use ProPress, because it's copper pipe is copper pipe. Or we're using this copper and it's X amount of dollars, or we use copper over here, it's X amount of dollars. You're going to go, well, use the cheaper one. I mean, is it an inferior product or way you're joining it? No, it's not. This is just faster.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it all comes down to dollars and cents from that standpoint.
Good.
So tell us about one of the worst jobs that you have had to go to.
Well, we can talk a long time about this.
Visiting your next door neighbor doesn't count, especially while he's sitting right next to you. So
Oh, man. I don't know. I've been in a lot of bad ones. Bad's a pretty broad
Memorable.
statement. One of them.
Memorable for some reason or another.
I was putting a stormwater system in a trailer park, which they supplied everything for. And doing something like that in a trailer park, there's been so much stuff that has been fixed, redone, reran. There's so much in the ground And now here I am putting 5,000 feet of stormwater pipe throughout this park. And yeah, it was a nightmare. Whether it was just sopping wet and full of water, or ran into some bedrock.
Yeah.
So on a good pace, you can set 250, 300 feet of pipe a day. And I went from setting 200 feet a day to setting 42 feet. And that was just because of bedrock. We had to rent machines. It was wet. The banks were caving in. Then it was towards, it was in the November region, so yeah, it snowed on us one day.
Oh,
and
jeez.
then we got a monsoon, and the problem with putting in a stormwater, it needed a stormwater system. So this place was a big bowl.
So you're working in the storm.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I mean, it is storming, and the stuff we've hooked up is catching water now. It's taking water.
Yeah.
And that was pretty rough job. And that was probably one of the worst, but I got it done, I guess.
Just a lot longer than you anticipated.
Yeah, I mean, that's just a consistent bad job. I mean, we've had a lot of things go sideways real quick jobs. I had a guy tapping a 30-inch main in Moline, and there's a kid, hard-working kid, and he jumps down in the hole, and he's setting up his saddle, and he's getting ready to tap this main. It's a direct tap, and he's drilling, and the water starts spraying, and the drill binds, and the saddle kicks, and it kicks the boot out. Now, I've got this 30-inch main that's just blowing water down in this hole, and this kid's keeping his cool. I'm not. I'm like, we are in trouble here. And he's like, well, hold on, let me try. And he's trying to get this grommet pushed back underneath and get the saddle tightened back up. And I'm like, if this comes off, it's going to blow water right into that brand new building.
Oh.
And not to mention, there'd be an open hole in a 30-inch water main.
Oh.
So I'm panicking, and he gets out of the ditch, and it's still spraying and leaking everywhere. And he's like, I'm going to be right back. I'm like, oh, no, we are in trouble now. And no, that's bad on a stressful level, but we got it fixed.
Yeah.
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 It's bad all over the place.
Yeah. So for both of you, I'll start with you, Alex. You know, as you kind of look into the future and the industry as a whole, what do you think people who are looking to get into it or are just starting off, what if you had a crystal ball, what's the thing that they're going to have to really realize or have a good understanding of in the future?
This is going to sound a little weird, but
We like weird here.
Chris actually coming from AY.
Yeah.
I mean, he hammers it every day.
Yeah.
The customer is the most important thing.
Yeah.
He really took that mindset, and so we take that into everything that we do too. I mean, if there's something that somebody needs right away, we'll try our best to move heaven and earth to make sure that our customer has what they need at a reasonable price and everything else. So I think that's the biggest thing to remember is being good to the people who help your business thrive.
Sure.
So
How about you?
Can you repeat the question for me?
Yeah, as far as
I was just lost in
as
your
you look at the industry in the future, somebody's looking to get into the industry. What are they going to need to know? What's the most important thing to keep in mind as they're kind of starting out?
Basically, you don't start at the top.
that's true.
There is no, in this industry, there's no fast track.
Mhm.
You just take your lumps and go through the steps, and eventually you get there.
Yeah.
But don't come in. I mean, normally whenever we hire somebody brand new, if they get sent with me their first day, that is not good.
Why is that?
Because I'm doing something that's messed up. It's dirty. It's deep in a hole. It's, we're digging.
Yeah.
And when they go with me the first day, I'm like, oh, man. Because you never know. Because I don't interview anybody. So they just say, hey, so-and-so's starting. They're going with you. Pick them up at the shop in the morning.
Right.
Okay. And then we go over to the trailer park. My apprentice that works with me now, that was his first day on the job, was working there. I'm like, oh no, this kid doesn't stand a chance.
He's still there.
He's still there.
How long ago was that?
About, what was it, 8-10 months ago. Maybe.
Oh, so he's been there a while then.
Yeah.
It's not
He's
like
hanging
4
out.
hours,
Oh,
4
no.
hours ago or something like that.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
He,
Day 2, he calls in
Yeah.
sick.
yeah. No, you're just, you're going to have to work. I mean, and it is what it is, you
Yeah.
know. This is not a sit-down job, you know. It's not always, and not that, you know, desk work or, you know, physical work is really any different. It's still work, but, you know, you just got to be ready. That sometimes it's going to be hot.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's going to be cold. It's going to be wet. It's going to be dirty. But some days, it's not going to be.
Right.
So, you know.
I
if
would
you
say
can-
that work and office work is very different.
Oh, yeah.
I walk through the foundry and I'm like, okay, I have it pretty easy.
Yeah.
It's just climate controlled. That's the only difference.
Yep.
So, what have you learned from your dad? Spending all that time as a young boy, kind of getting glimpses into what it would take to become the guy who can fix all that stuff. What are some things you've learned from him?
How to dodge a wrench.
What's that? You're going to have to. Oh, from him throwing it at you.
Have
Gotcha.
you not seen Dodgeball?
I got you.
You don't watch movies.
No, I don't. Yeah.
No, probably just to keep. One of the big things I learned from him is that he gets stoic at times. He's so focused, and I am all over the place all the time. I mean, and he is very, very focused all the time. And that's one thing that I try and practice more, and I'll catch myself getting distracted to come back to it. And there's a lot of things that when you've done it for this long, you kind of learn to do on autopilot, you know, setting fixtures in a house, you know, coming in and setting toilets. I could set toilets with my feet on my hands, backwards, upside down. It doesn't matter.
Right.
And you know, setting fixtures is easy. You don't have to think about that. So those are the times that I really, you know, I let my mind, I start thinking about something else, you know, start thinking about, okay, if I get this done, I can be here. And that's something that Dad always does. He's always 10 steps ahead of himself.
Yeah.
And I try and do that as often as I can.
Cool.
In your work, do you see a lot of that? I mean, is there a lot of, you know, with a family-owned business that you deal with on a regular basis?
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah.
We're kind of in the same boat too. We're always trying to be 10 steps ahead.
Right.
Having stuff, knowing what Bryar needs before he knows he needs it.
Right.
Half the time, kind of thing.
Great.
Yeah.
Always works out too, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, if
Yeah.
you know what I need
Uh-huh.
before I do, that's
Sure.
great.
At least we try to have it that way.
Exactly. Yeah.
We're just trying to make sure that keep him moving.
Yeah.
Because if he's always thinking about the next thing, we want to make sure that we have what he needs to get to that next thing as soon as possible.
Yeah. Are you guys seeing more residential, commercial? What kind of? I mean, is there a certain area that's picking up more than others?
I would say some subdivision work I'm seeing lately.
Really?
There's a lot of main replacement going on right now in our area anyway, which
Okay.
is actually pretty good for us. I know obviously supply is down,
Yeah.
so that makes it a little tougher. And I feel like some things might get pushed back to next year
Yeah.
just because of how the market is right now. And, you know, that's just one of the things we got to roll with. Everybody's in the same boat. So
Sure. Yeah.
that's a
Yeah,
big
we
part
have
of
an
it.
aging infrastructure in this town as well.
Yeah.
So,
A lot of
Bryar,
main
do you
breaks.
deal with the I mean, at least portions of the main replacement? What does
Well,
that all entail?
You know, it all, whether it's private or down in our area, most of the mains that we would deal with are owned by Iowa American. So
Okay.
Iowa American takes care of, you know, repairing, replacing their own mains. But yeah, we deal with it once it goes private. You know, they, you know, or where they leave off and we take off from. We run quite a bit, not as much as I feel like we have in the past. I think maybe we are, and I'm not doing all of it anymore. So we still do a little bit of water main work and replacement, but we've always primarily been residential.
Okay.
So, but we do like commercial things as well, like restaurants, and we're doing some small bars and music venues in downtown Davenport. But yeah, I haven't noticed a pickup in anything. We're busy all
Yeah.
the time.
Just soup to
So-
nuts. It doesn't really matter
Yeah,
what
it-
quote unquote industry. I mean, I know plumbing industry, but
Right.
whether it be residential or commercial.
Yeah, I mean, it's just go everywhere. So,
Good. Super. You got anything else?
Well, I can't think of anything.
Okay. Well, Alex, Bryar, we appreciate you coming in to talk to us at AY After Hours with Kelly and Doug. It's insightful to learn about a little bit of information as far as, what you do on a day-to-day basis, so we really appreciate that. And for everybody out there, I recommend that you go to aymcdonald.com. But then if you do also have any, ideas or questions, thoughts for future podcasts, go ahead and email them into ayafterhours@aymcdonald.com and visit all the socials. Thanks.
Oh, no! I wanted you to screw up.
Didn't do it. Ah!
Nailed it.
Good job.
Yeah.
Good job.
Hey, that was great, guys.
Yeah,
Is that what
thank
We
you
you so
appreciate it.
much.
That last line, what you normally
Huh?
trouble with?
Oh,
Yeah.
once
Is that what
he,
you're talking
like,
about?
Oh, yeah.